Hello and welcome to Hardcast. And let's finish the original XO-Manowar run with a bang. I'm Humphrey.
And my name is Chris.
Lifeline. Give me XO-Manowar, Volume 12, Long Live the King.
First of all, I would like to apologize for the unannounced hiatus that we apparently took. It's all my fault. I didn't even realize we missed episodes until you mentioned it.
Well, as long as you're sorry.
I am very sorry. You know, Humphrey will be here next week and then you can give me a right spanking.
Yes, very.
XO-Manowar number 47, The Face of Gods. We get some backstory to our hero and his journey. The first time of 2 in this volume. The Torment are attacking, and evidently they can absorb information by taking things and just sticking it inside themselves. The Vine soldiers attack and get easily absorbed or killed. Pretty much everyone attacks while everyone else flees. They can't seem to put a dent into the Torment, so they retreat.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one big alien invasion in this volume.
Yeah, it's just a big battle. I mean, it's pretty much just like it's the first act. You know, you can't beat the enemy. The enemy's way too strong, so you have to do a strategic retreat. You know, and then you can have your nice little second act where everyone talks about how to beat it, and ultimately then you get the third act where suddenly you can make damage for no explainable reason.
Exactly.
But isn't that always a thing? Like, you know, the enemies always seem so big and unpregnable, basically, in like the first act, and then by the time they get to the third act, suddenly they seem much weaker.
I mean, I guess it depends on what the specific story is. So, like, I find anime is pretty bad with that at times, where you'll have
oh god, yes.
Again, depends on which one, but I really don't like the times which happens like oftentimes in Dragon Ball, at least the later like stuff, where you have someone who can just stand still as, you know, someone's like wailing on them.
Yeah.
Either they dodge them all or just absorb them all. But it's just like, I get it, he's a badass, but it's not that interesting.
Who are you talking about now?
Isn't it like anyone almost? Like coming into like Frieza and Cell. And I feel I've seen clips from like the Super as well with characters like whatever that cat guy's called.
Beerus?
Yes.
Oh, Humphrey. Yeah, but it's usually, you know, I mean, I always feel like, especially with Dragon Ball, it's always like, okay, well, it makes sense. I mean, we all remember the thing where, where Mr. Satan fights Cell. I mean, there it's obvious, right?
Yeah, of course, but that's, you know, because he's not. It's always so sad with Mr. Satan, because, you know, if it wasn't for, you know, the Saiyans and stuff like that, he'd actually be like the strongest guy on the earth.
Right.
He's not a bad. It's not like he's you know, cheating in that sense. It's just.
Well, I mean, you know, honestly, wouldn't someone like even Yamcha be technically stronger than Mr. Satan?
Yeah, but again, even then he has, you know, he unlocks the chi powers of some sort.
Did Yamcha unlock chi powers?
Yeah, I remember in when he's fighting Shen. He called himself Shen, but it's God, like Kami in the body of that salaryman. Like he learned to do that thing with like a little ball of like ki.
Yeah.
And he had to like fly into the ground, and then he managed to get one hit on him.
Yeah.
So, you know, at least he can do that.
Yeah, but any human can do that too. I mean, you look at Videl as well. Like, she also was able to learn how to fly and create energy balls.
Oh, no, absolutely.
And that's Mr. Satan's child. So technically he's not, I mean, he was just lucky that he became the... Anyway, is this the fastest we've ever, like, you know, veered off course?
Possibly.
Like, it was literally the first thing you said was like, I mean, like, I mentioned something that you were just like, yep, anime, and then we're straight to Dragon Ball.
No, definitely. Obviously, what's the phrase for that, or the saying? Absence has not made our heart grow fonder.
No.
So, but exactly the whole thing about the torment, just huge giants.
Yeah, and
Though, as I mentioned last time, I just love it because, me being the nerd of the two of us, I'm like, so cool. These guys were referenced all the way back in Volume 3. Awesome.
and me being the person who I am, I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was just as Auric, right before Auric lands on the Vine Planet, before, while they're still evil. So the priest gives a lecture about it, which is basically like the same thing that we got in the beginning of this issue.
Yeah.
And again, there you only got to see like inscriptions, like these like drawings of them. So just kind of, I like the simple things like that. It's nothing amazing. It's just, hey, a thing they mentioned earlier comes, but it's now here.
Yeah, but I think nowadays, especially where, continuity is such a big deal. I mean, I know how like back in the day when they started out with comics, like continuity, like no one even thought about that. No one even was like,
tell that to Chuck Wendig.
Yeah, well, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, anyway. He's a writer for Star Wars now, for the comics and books.
Yeah.
And he got really pissy when the fans pointed out that his latest Darth Vader comic has a lot of continuity mistakes based on, I think, even his own work. And I'm not entirely sure about that, but either way, and he's just going on Twitter's going, look, the important thing is to tell a good story. And it's like, yeah, but that's, that's the thing. Sure, I agree. It's the same thing with superhero comics. If you have a good idea, you should go for it.
Yeah.
But that should be only if it's a really, really good idea, and that's worth retconning something. If not, that's the kind of the thing that you do. You're like, all right, this is cool. This is, this is what I knew was happening when I entered this. We have a lot of history here already. But whatever.
Yes, it's interesting because I like the idea of like having certain characters that you can just use in different situations. Pretty much every superhero is like that. I just wish that there was, I don't know how to explain this. Like, it would be nice to have like one comic series where you're like, okay, this is the continuity, right? And then I guess what I'm trying to say is I wish there were more graphic novels. Because I feel like with a graphic novel, like if you take something like The Long Halloween or something like that, which is obviously a short series or whatever, it would be called miniseries. With that, it's just nice to be like, okay, this is the Batman that we have. It's not in continuity with anything, right now. It's just, this is a story I want to tell. This is the Batman I want, and then let's assume like this is like the Robin I want, this is the Catwoman I want, this is the Joker that I want, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like doing something like that more often would be much more nicer, because then you can kind of, even like you were saying, like, because you were kind of saying like you can do something like that if you have a really, really good idea, But that's why I feel like so many ideas would just be kind of falling off by the wayside just because they don't work in continuity. And then I also feel like it's a shame that then you have all these stories where you have to bring back characters and how characters can't just stay dead. Because they always have to come back because some writer is going to come in and say, look, I have this amazing story, but we need to have Jason back. And they're like, oh, shit, okay, well, I guess there is this thing where he could have dropped into the pit and he could have, all that kind of shit. And I feel like that's where, for me personally, as not such a nerd, it gets too convoluted. And that's one of the reasons why I really, really like Valiant, because it's just so small and it's coherent. And they can say, look, where dead is dead, they can say that because, they don't have 52 ongoing series at the same time.
We're never going to let the DC go about that.
No, we're not.
No, but exactly. But what you were mentioning about the graphic novel stuff, that's kind of something that Alan Moore was discussing years ago when he had that. I talked to you about this, called The Twilight of the Superheroes.
Okay.
It was a pitch he sent to DC, which would basically be the official end of the DC universe, like where everyone dies.
So like the Book of Death.
So basically, but without the framing device of that.
Yeah.
Like this would be like the canonical future, far enough so that it's not like, we can still keep doing our comics, but also not, but it's also supposed to be the full end. And a lot of it's pretty edgy stuff. Basically all the superheroes have kind of moved into their own houses, like not how more like a Game of Thrones kind of thing.
Oh yeah, okay.
You had like the House of Steel, which is all the Superman related people.
Yeah.
The House of Marvel for like Captain Marvel and all the other like Shazam. The House of Lanterns, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's just all this crazy stuff about all this backstabbing and. It's honestly, the outline is a great read. We'll put a link to, I think there's a PDF somewhere. We'll put a link in the show notes. But I really like his introduction to that pitch. Because he mentions he mentions the whole thing how people talk about superheroes being the modern mythology.
Mm-hmm.
But Alan Moore argues that they are not. Like the one thing they're missing to be that is an end.
Right.
All mythologies have it's a full story.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and I think he even brings up a Robin Hood for something a little bit, I was going to say something more recent, I guess, in comparison to, Greek myths. But
yeah.
But what he means is we have the Robin Hood story. But from there, people have experimented, explored, deconstructed. I mean, how many Robin Hood movies are there?
Right.
Because it truly is a myth. It truly is a story that you can play with.
How many bad English accents are there?
Exactly. But that kind of thing there, it's like, that's like what he wanted to provide. Though honestly, as I said, it gets really edgy, his story.
Yeah, well, that's the problem then when you have someone like Alan Moore writing the finale, basically the end. It just... you have to then as DC you have to basically be 100% behind it, and I mean, could you imagine if it didn't turn out well? Wouldn't it be shitty, like if no one liked it, if it was like really too edgy for most people, and then DC just kind of like, yeah, maybe we don't do this.
Yeah, but then you just kind of forget about it, like they do with most things. Like
No, but what I like about it is, I mean, like with the Norse religion, there is an end to it. I mean, there's the whole thing about
Ragnarok.
Yeah, Ragnarok. Yeah, and there's about Thor fighting the serpent of the sea, and making it bite its own tail or something like that. And that's the end, but it's not only the end; it's also a rebirth. And that's something that I think would be interesting in a superhero universe too, is the idea of a rebirth, that there is, so to speak, a season 2, leaves it a little bit more open-ended. And like, I think the Greek mythology is also very, final. And the Finnish mythology is just an old dude just leaving.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the party's over.
Yeah, Christianity came to Europe, which is also like the most hilarious. Like, I don't know. I mean, the Finnish mythology. I mean, I've been reading a lot about that because of the script that I wanted to write, and the ending of it's just so hilarious because there's literally a woman who eats berries off of a bush and gets pregnant from the bush, like from eating those berries, and her name is like a Finnish version of Maria, and then she brings to birth, like she basically has a virgin birth and has a child, and that child speaks to Väinämöinen, the I guess what would you call it, the protagonist of the Finnish mythos, and basically tells him to get fucked. and so people have been saying that this was a way of talking about Christianity coming to Finland, about just a little baby boy telling the Finnish mythology to go fuck itself and leave, and he just gets into a boat and leaves. So that's nice. That's how Batman should end. Batman just gets into a boat and leaves.
No, Batman should have ended when he actually did die, except not really.
Except not really. He was sent back in time and got to be a cowboy for a while. Oh my God. Have you seen the new poster for Sharknado?
Yes, what was it called?
It's about time.
That's the one, yes.
Get it? It's about time.
It's hilarious.
Because they're time traveling this time. God, I keep on wanting to watch the Sharknado movies, but my girlfriend does not want to watch them with me because she thinks they're ridiculous. But we have to watch these movies.
I don't know. For me, it just feels like it's... I'm not going to say it's a scam, but it just kind of feels like it's someone who's trying to sort of force a meme and really make money out of it. And I'm just curious how long people can sustain that. Like, it's only, how many times can you watch all these movies, and be like, oh God, this is hilarious. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Like, at what point is it not you laughing at the movie and you, just like it's the creator laughing at you?
The turntables have turned.
Where's that from?
I think The Office.
Probably. Yeah, Michael would say that.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. How about that? Just keep on. I mean, we've been recording for like 16, 17 minutes now.
Yep.
And I think for like 14 of those minutes, we've been talking about something else other than XO-Manowar.
Yep. But honestly, as we were kind of saying, there's not much unless we, go do like a play-by-play. But it's, kind of interesting. I mean, if we look at the Torment themselves, as of what we're seeing here, that's exactly what you expect. Because that's the kind of problem with also, heck, even in Valiant on its own, this is like their third alien invasion in terms of a new species. If we don't count those individual Vine stuff. We had the Vine invasion, and then we had the Armor Hunters. So now we have these guys. It's always kind of tricky because, sure, space is big. I'm sure there's always a bigger fish out there.
Oh, yeah, Dragon Ball proved that.
Exactly. But to go back to Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
But the thing is here, okay, what makes these guys interesting? And again...
Well, look at them.
Yeah, no, but it's not entirely... I mean, it's kind of... Not that they look like Galactus.
Well, I was about to say, they're a body made out of galaxies.
So, well, yeah, except they don't have his fashion sense.
Oh, yeah.
Or like that, just to give a nice little moment here. Like, have you ever read Marvels? The book by Alex Ross?
No, probably not.
It's basically where they do a retelling of all of these classic Marvel stories, but in his style, and then deconstructing what it means.
All right, okay, guys. You did an okay job, but let me do it better.
No, it's more about giving it through this lens of this reporter they've been taking pictures throughout the run of Marvel.
No, that was just a joke. I mean,
and I know
it does sound interesting. I mean, obviously, it wasn't that. I mean, can you imagine Alex Ross just be like, "All right, guys, you're good, but let me show you how it's done."
Yeah, no, but the thing is, there's this great joke about the Galactus there, because the third issue is about the Galactus attack on Earth and the Fantastic Four stopping him.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Alex Ross redid a panel in his style where you see this like newspaper, like the Daily Bugle, calling the Fantastic Four frauds about the whole Galactus thing. But in the original comic, they just did the usual shorthand of squiggly lines to represent text. But because it was higher quality for this painting, the writer actually gave Alex Ross a script or like a thing to write down. And I just love, and it makes sense for Jonah Jameson to do this. But he basically points out the weirdness, like, oh, sure. A creature from space that's never been to Earth, called Galactus, just happens to have the Earth letter G on his chest. And it's one of those things like, yep, that's honestly, unless you want to do like a whole Superman, no, it stands for hope thing. It is kind of like, where the hell did he get this symbol from?
Right.
Though even then, I think at some point they retconned it, to the point where I think they've retconned this as well. But it was something that he takes on the form of the species that he eats, like of the planet.
Right.
That's why he looks like a human, and that's why he gets like the G, because that's the language or something. He would look like something else on the Planet of the Apes or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just love things like that, where it's like, yeah. Anyways. No, but my point merely about the torment is just, it's hard to be unique with these things. Like, honestly, the way they kind of remind me of versions of Brainiac.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times that's what his whole deal is. He sees himself as saving the universe by turning it all into data. So there we go.
Believe me, I know. I just finished playing Injustice 2, so.
Oh, nice.
I know all about Brainiac.
Nice. That's the kind of thing there. It's like, okay, that's a cool thing, especially for a machine, because that's the kind of way a machine would interpret his orders.
Mm-hmm.
And here, we kind of like, okay, so, they're not like eating them, they're not like, nom, nom, nom. It's just, okay, they're absorbing, and now they can speak the languages because they have the information. And again, it's cool. It's interesting,
Yeah.
but yeah, just kind of hard to make it constantly like last this kind of stuff. So I feel this being the last of this run, so to speak, I think they do work as a final kind of confrontation.
Yeah. Well, that's also a thing that, I've also taken to heart, this whole idea of just because someone else has done something similar doesn't mean you shouldn't do your thing.
Exactly.
I mean, I wouldn't immediately. Obviously, when you look at these guys, you're like, okay, yeah, it brings back memories of like Galactus and stuff like that. All these kind of, even somehow also a little bit of Thanos, even if you want to go to Marvel as well. And oh wait, sorry. Of course, Galactus is also Marvel. What am I talking about? Oh God, I almost made a faux pas. But what I'm saying is just that it's it doesn't matter though, because they are different enough. And I feel like usually when even if you have like this point of origin is very similar to what someone else has done, by the time you're finished with it, that character or that situation might be completely different. It would have evolved completely differently. So that should never be like you should never not start something just because you're like, oh, but it's been done a million times, because it hasn't been done by you. So,
Oh, no, absolutely. But even within that, I feel it's more about, okay, how does it work within what you're doing? So like if let's assume Robert Venditti was thinking, because again, he's writing Green Lantern and stuff now too.
Yeah.
No, wait, no. He's working on Hawkman. Anyways, he's done Green Lantern, and so he obviously has ideas for like space stuff. But that's what I mean in terms of, okay, well, how does it work within what I'm currently writing? Like, what's something that works well for the Valiant universe here? Like, what's happened before? As I was saying, like, okay, they've had Divine, they've had the Armor Hunters. And that's the kind of thing you have to think about. It's not so much about, has this been done before? It's, okay, how does it work within what I'm doing now?
Yeah.
So in this case, it's a first for Valiant having these kinds of aliens. And thus, okay, so how would the Valiant universe, react to all this?
The same way all the other ones do. No, I'm joking. All right, well, let's move on to the next volume, or issue, even.
Issue 48. The battlefield is strewn with corpses, both human and divine alike, after the previous attack. Auric feels helpless as his powers seem useless against the enemy, having been used to be able to punch and blast most of his opponents. As his wife equips his helmet on him, he blacks out and sees a vision of the blue aliens. The rest of Unity, except for Gilad since he's still dead or in the labyrinth, team up in order to fight the so-called torment. Auric explains that from his vision that the torment don't consume materials, but rather existence, memories, and experiences. Just then, they attack Manhattan, and if things couldn't be worse, Commander Trill attacks the Love Boat. Yeah, we get to see some of the Nebraskan wildlife.
Very, very shortly, though.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting. I didn't know they had vultures back there, but yeah, they do.
Yeah, well, again, this is another one of those things where I'm just saying, like, this feels like kind of unnecessary. You could have kind of put this one and the next issue together. I think that would have been fine. Because a lot of this is just talking. I mean, it's the second act. It's just, all right, basically, it's about, all right, what happened? What did we do wrong? How can we fix this? How can we do it better next time? And then, Eric has this little vision. And then, that's pretty much it. And then it's like, all right, we're going to have some other team members in. That's good. Let's go. All right, they're attacking Manhattan now. Okay, now we need to, attack again. And I don't know. This just felt like a boring issue. And again, I'm going to mention this now every single episode until we finally get it. It's better to read as a volume than as an issue. Hands down. Because I would not have been satisfied with this as a single issue. If this was my monthly dose of XO-Manowar, I would be disappointed. Because it would literally be like, all right, we have one good issue, two boring issues, and one good issue. And then repeat that for ad infinitum.
Yeah, no, but it's, we keep repeating this topic, but it's just because we truly believe it in that sense.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe I won't mention it every time. just like with all the now and then and soon, we've stopped talking about that too.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a given now.
Yeah.
So why do they always attack Manhattan?
Yeah, I was thinking that too when I saw that. I know it's not the exact line they say, but I always think of that, the Monsters versus Aliens quote. So where aliens have attacked the United States, the only place aliens seem to want to attack.
Yep. I mean, if someone says like, oh, they want to go for the most dense area, then it's like, well, then go to China.
Yeah, or like they did, or like they already did in Valiant, Mexico City.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, which again was a cool, and I think that was also based on what's called not the curvature of the Earth, but like where it was currently rotated.
Yeah.
So like China would be off limits if they currently had, were facing the Americas.
Right, yeah.
Which is again like, okay, you know what? That makes sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can't imagine that they have a weapon that can go around the Earth and hit from the other side. That's too crazy. That would
just be ridiculous.
Crazy talk. No, but it's always like that. It's like something I remember hearing people mention about, I think it was the second Transformers movie, where just because the United States don't want the Transformers anymore, like hanging around, they take it like as an exile from the Earth itself.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I'm pretty sure a lot of America's enemies wouldn't mind you hanging around.
Right. I'm pretty sure Russia and China and even like other countries would, I mean, especially in today's political climate, I think everyone would be knocking the door.
Like, hey, super, advanced robot people who probably can share some of your technology with us. So how about you can stay over here? We got room.
Yeah, come to Canada, eh?
No, but that's
real nice.
No, but again, it's the whole thing. It's one of the reasons I like with Doctor Who, for example, where it's the same but with Britain.
Yeah,
which is again makes sense. The creators are British. They especially for a live action show too. They have access to Britain.
Right.
So, why make it complicated then if they're gonna be set then in, I don't know, some Southeast Asian country all the time that none of the creators really know much about or.
Yeah, I mean, of course, but I feel like what I do feel like is the Marvel movies have been doing it really well with the internationality. They seem, I mean, obviously it's tax benefits. I mean, there's a reason why they're constantly filming in Korea or, where they do some stuff in China. I'm just all so
disappointed that they haven't introduced Amadeus Cho because of that. Like you've had so many opportunities to do that so you can finally replace Bruce Banner in some future movie.
Yeah.
And like, guy, come on, you sow the seeds so people don't complain when you do.
Well, I mean, you can't have an Asian guy on the silver screen, dude.
It's funny, like, it's always about the African Americans on screen. It's like, where's the Asian superhero?
Well, that's the thing. No one cares about them, and that's a real shame because unless they're doing kung fu or something like that, no one cares. And it's a real shame, because I just, as someone who really, really enjoys Asian films, just like not only for like the stories that they tell, but also just the camera movements and the way that they film action scenes. I mean, there's this thing, I mean, okay, I'm going to go off topic just for a second because I really want to talk about this. There's this thing that Jackie Chan was talking about when he was talking about how they shoot his films. And he was talking about in Western movies, when someone throws a punch, the punch is always, there's always a cut in the punch. So when the fist is supposed to hit the face, they cut to the reaction shot of the face turning, you know? So you never feel the punch. You just see movement. And then he was saying that in his movies, they show the punch 3 times. So he will show the punch hit the face, and then he will cut to a place where the punch is just like a couple of centimeters back, and then hit the face again, and then he'll cut it again and hit the face again. So it feels more powerful, and that's something they do in all these Asian movies. That's why Ip Man feels so strong, because you can feel the punches. You just feel them. I mean, I don't. I never felt more into a fighting movie than Ip Man 2 when he was fighting that American boxer. I mean, you
British.
felt. British. Yeah, you felt every single punch. And it just, I mean, the way that when he does his like fast hit thing, when he hits someone in the chest and just goes like down the chest, you feel that shit, and you don't feel it. I mean, the only thing that I can say is comparable is one of my favorite scenes in a Marvel movie is Captain America: Winter Soldier, where Bucky and Cap fight for the first time. You know, the one where he flips the knife in the air and catches it with his other hand. Because you could feel they didn't cut away from the punches. Anyway. So, but I feel like Asian American representation on screen should be much, much higher. And because they have so much stuff to offer, and it's just amazing. Anyone who wants to see that kind of stuff, watch Wong Fu. They're like a production company on YouTube. They make amazing, mostly romantic films, sometimes comedies, but they employ a lot of Asian Americans, and they're also advocates for that stuff. And yeah, it's really good. I like them.
Yeah, I also like how you make a point of mentioning it's Asian Americans particularly, since again, there's a whole, thriving Asian cinema.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a specific thing, because I always feel kind of like, I mean, I guess it's semantics, because, I know what people are referring to. But it always kind of gives that impression that, and again, rightfully so, that it's Hollywood that counts.
Right.
So, which is kind of like the whole, do you hear about that recent, I guess you'd call it a documentary with that Indian comedian, The Problem with Apu?
Nope.
I haven't seen it. I'm not sure if it's for free online or if it's like a streaming thing somewhere, but it's this Indian comedian who points out, like, as I've understood it, the frustration of having like Apu be like the only sort of Indian American representation for like many years. It's gotten a bit better now with like people like Dev Patel having had some mainstream success. And what's his name now? The guy in Parks and Rec?
Aziz Ansari.
Yes, that's the guy. So, so certainly has improved in such. But for me, it's specifically the area. Okay, it's specifically Indian American, because we know full well that India itself has a thriving cinema scene. Like there's plenty of representation there. So I don't know, just something I just like making clear in that sense. Either way, as usual, kind of gone from all the things going on in this volume. But yeah, it's just the prep. It's the prep episode this time. As you were discussing before, they failed, so now they're kind of trying to recoup and re-strategize.
Yep. And then, the threat looms again. And then we get a second threat, a B plot of Trill just being annoying.
As we'll find out in the next issue, it's a bit of a red herring.
Yes.
Well, not really red herring, more of a bait and switch.
Yeah.
It's kind of the issue here, too, that you kind of get sometimes with other comics as well, though. Because this, honestly, any alien invasion should almost always have to be like a crossover event or something.
Well, yeah, because, who like, I mean, people have been joking about this too. Like, what has Miss Marvel been doing or Captain Marvel been doing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Yeah, I hope they give a good explanation. Like, not that I need to have like a, full justification. It's just kind of like, okay, I mean, I'm just curious,
Yeah. What have you been doing? Like, people have been doing that picture with Donald sleeping, where he kind of like, there's like a meme or whatever where, it's like, Captain Marvel the last 10 years or since the 90s, and it's just kind of like, gets up, looks, and then gets back to bed. I mean, that kind of feels like it, because it's like, where were you?
Exactly, and especially in considering, like, if Thanos himself was not enough to have Nick Fury like call her, it's not like until afterwards. It's kind of like, why is she too powerful to use or something? Which again could be interesting, but we'll see. I mean, I'm genuinely curious.
I mean, I was under the impression that Nick Fury didn't know about Thanos until.
Oh, that could be true.
He seemed very like scared when the dusting started happening.
That's true.
Spoilers, I guess.
No, it's fine now. It's the statute of limitations is over. and if you are spoiled about it, well, too bad.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
Oh, I love that whole thing about that he's the only one who was truly scared because of his spider sense.
Oh yeah.
Like that's why he's like that. Everyone else, it just kind of happens. But his spider sense like was apparently crazy because it could feel it, but it couldn't like pinpoint it. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. It's like, oh, good times.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I mean. It depends on the severity of the alien invasion. If it's just like a sort of a small scale thing, like, oh, they've just kind of secretly landed in this area here. That's fine for this one hero to take care of.
Right.
But when it's like this big thing here, you're kind of like, sure, I mean, what would Archer and Armstrong do in that sense? Like.
But then again, it's also like, depending on where they are, I mean, say Archer and Armstrong are currently in China, doing something there, searching for some kind of relic or whatever they do, and maybe they don't have direct communication. Even if they did, I mean, what are they going to do? They don't have like instant transmorphication, transmission, whatever. They can't just like appear right away. They have to get on a plane and fly over. And even the fastest American military jet will not be able to get them over in the time that it takes for them to, finish. You know what I mean? So it's like, even if, I mean, also, you want to start talking about Quantum and Woody, I mean, they can just go, I'd be happy if I never see them again.
Honestly, even though, because it's more about power sets and stuff, is my thought about these things. It's like the one I always bring up with Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
They're like, yes, good job, Batman and Robin. You stay behind because, you literally can do nothing.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing here. Like, even Quantum and Woody, thanks to their powers, would have something more to do against these creatures, I feel. Compared to Archer and Armstrong, who... Even Armstrong would be, I guess, subject to being absorbed by these creatures.
Right.
And maybe that would be even worse then, because maybe, with his thousands of years of experiences, or maybe they'll get drunk. I don't feel so good.
Yeah.
No, but that's kind of thing. Like, I'm fine with like Bloodshot as well, not present, because they're not technology, so his nanites can't really do anything.
Yeah, but the thing is, like with Batman, as you and I have discussed, especially with the, I think it's called the Batman and Superman Apocalypse, maybe. It's just one of those things where you have to play favoritism, and I'm not entirely sure they do that here in XO, or like in Valiant, because I think who's the big guy in Valiant? I mean, obviously I want to say it's Gilad, but I know that's not true.
Well, you mean like power level?
No, not power level, but like who's the most popular character?
I think Ninjak technically is like compared to other characters, he seems to be having like some more recurring books recently.
Yeah, okay.
And I think and consider also they chose him for the Ninjak versus Valiant universe.
True.
Which again could be other reasons, like maybe it's easier to have a ninja guy than having XO-Manowar in the front.
Right.
But I think he is like the easiest sell for a lot of people. Him and Bloodshot, maybe.
Yeah. Well, see, that's my point, is that I feel like if this was a Marvel or a DC kind of thing, they would put their most popular character in the forefront, which they do with Batman so often. I mean, you and I were even talking about when we were watching that Apocalypse movie, is that Batman has no point in being there. There's no point in him being there. And the fact that he can kind of, I mean, yeah, he does a lot of tricks, but the fact that he can like kind of fight off Darkseid, it doesn't feel right. You know, because you're just a human. And yeah, your little bombs can like distract him and all that shit, and you can like outwit him and stuff. But it just feels kind of like you're putting him here because he's popular. And that's something that I feel like I didn't get that impression in this volume. I mean, we see Ninjak doing stuff, but he's in a plane and he's shooting missiles, and he's doing this basically the same thing as all the Manowar extra bots and all the Vine soldiers. They're just blasting them. There's no like, he's not like throwing his ninja stars at the aliens here. And, obviously, and then like beating them by it because it's like, oh, but it's a smart thing and it explodes inside.
So it just reminds me of, what was it, Saturday Night Live that had a sketch after the first Avengers? That had like Hawkeye going. Yeah, something like.
Actually played by, what's his name, Brenner or something?
Oh, was it played by him? Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, it was actually played by, what's his first name?
Ah, yeah, I'm missing it too.
Something,
now.
Jason Brenner? No. I mean, he played Jason Bourne.
Yeah, oof. No, either way.
It's not Yul Brenner.
No. Either way. No, but I just like the whole idea, like, again, not that he wasn't helping, but it just feels kind of in the big picture. It's like, what's called, I shot 11 aliens. So 11 aliens, but there's like 1 million of them. Yes, and I shot 11 of them. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Again, it's cool. It's stuff, I love his trick arrows and whatnot, but it's the whole big picture thing. I mean, it's the reason why they have that scene with Captain America in the bank.
Yes.
Like, it's not actually important in the big picture, but it helps cement the fact that they're heroes, and he gets to do something cool even if it doesn't really affect the major thing.
Yeah.
Which, again, is fine. It's fine. It's how it goes with these things. But it's like, for whatever reason, I've been recommended constant clips from Justice League and Justice League Unlimited on YouTube.
Okay.
And loving that old show and noticing just how good it is when I see these clips. I'm like, damn, this was good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is it's that balance thing, Okay, we have all these heroes, we want to sell toys of all of them. So how can we make sure that they're all kind of they all can show off? Either way. So it's like, I mean, again, I was expecting the final volume of XO-Manowar, like, properly. I'll discuss the volume 13 later.
Okay.
But, for the final one, I was expecting, it being a big, like, finale thing, but I was thinking it'd be about the volume itself.
Right. I will take this moment to thank our sponsors. Remember to buy your homeowner's insurance. Living in Manhattan is expensive enough. The seemingly weekly alien attacks don't help either. Buy your homeowner's insurance at aliensafe.com. And before you do anything, click the microphone at the top of the homepage and enter Hardcast to get 20% off your first year. Protect your home against aliens, because God knows our heroes don't care about buildings.
We're sorry to say that after the events in Nebraska and New York, the Blue Man Group will be officially disbanded. It has been a great run, but the band feels it's in poor taste after what has happened. We hope you understand.
Issue 49. Trill and Eric have words, while Manhattan just gets exterminated. After some back and forth, the two armies agree to fight together and speed off towards whatever is left of Manhattan. Now, everyone is here to fight the Torment, Ginger doing most of the heavy lifting. Everyone fights, Eric saves Trill's life, and then Eric gets absorbed into one of the Torment. Now, everyone is sad.
I can't believe XO-Manowar died. God damn it, they retconned it already.
Yeah, it's not at all like the Book of Death said.
Ah, well, can't win them all.
God damn it, and we were so close to issue number 50.
Oh, but it's nice stuff here. And again, and just like we were discussing before with like the Cap scene and stuff like that, you had the whole, what's called XO-Manowar saving that mother and child. Again, obviously, I'm sure a lot of people have already died, but it's just little moments like that that gives it, oh yeah, well, because you could do something, so you did do something. That's the whole thing. Is if you have a hero like looking and seeing someone about to get hurt and not doing anything, that's where like it just doesn't feel right. When it's just like things going through buildings and stuff, well, I don't know if there was anyone in there. Probably not. Maybe. The abandoned warehouse district.
Yeah. Our scanners say that there are no more living people in this area. Whatever they call it.
Or like Batman v Superman. Ah, man, that was so on the nose. Everyone has been evacuated already. Or like, it's Sunday, no one's at work. Or whatever.
It's
like, no, guys, no. Yeah. It's you misunderstand the problem people had. Right.
One of the things, again, that I remember about that movie is that I watched it a second time because it's on Netflix here in Germany. And I watched it while I was cleaning. And the thing that you mentioned at some point is that, and I feel that this is true, the sequences, like the how would you call it, the scenes on their own are great. Like if you just take all these scenes and just separate them and just watch them as like clips without having them like connected at all, there's some amazing cinematography. There's some amazing acting. It's all really great. But if you put it together, it's not that fun. So when I was cleaning, it was like the perfect way of watching that movie because I was actually like, I got like really interested. And then there were some scenes where I was like, oh yeah, this is actually really good. And then with the final fight, I just ignored it and started vacuuming stuff,
Except for when Wonder Woman pops up with her.
Oh yeah, Wonder Woman. I had to go back and watch that again.
Her, oh man, I can't do the sound, but I just did.
Yeah, it literally started. It literally did that. She jumps in front. The shield is in the way, and then it's just literally dun, 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 like it just immediately just.
I love her theme. It's not at all what you'd kind of expect. I think with her.
So I never watched Wonder Woman. I just realized.
Okay, well, we have a huge backlog of movies we're gonna watch. So, but that's definitely one we should watch because I love that movie.
I don't know. We'll see.
So now this is like I've mentioned before. There's certain films where if you like the film, you forgive shortcomings, and the film has many shortcomings. But the thing is, the tone, the feel, you just can't help but enjoy yourself. So even when there's a shortcoming, it becomes more of a joke for you and other fans.
Are you talking now about
Wonder Woman?
Batman v Superman?
The Wonder Woman.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, you said it was a good film? What are you talking about here?
No. It's like I've said, with their two, because I like Man of Steel, so I don't count that as a flop.
No, I think Man of Steel is also great. I love that movie.
Yeah, no, we both like that one. But if we take like Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad as kind of this like duo, like as you were saying, like Batman v Superman has better scenes, like it's more spectacles. But Suicide Squad is at least coherent in a sense. Like it's not great.
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, that we don't have to watch.
Yeah, I wasn't going to anyway.
You don't have to watch Oscar-winning a Suicide Squad.
Oh god.
I always have to preface it like that because it just sounds great when you say it.
What did it win for? Like makeup?
Best like makeup, I guess is what it's called. It was for Killer Croc.
Okay.
Which again, I'm not sure. I don't know what the competition was. But I guess it takes more effort and looks a bit more interesting than just normal, makeup.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, yeah, put some white powder on your face. Oh, and also you can see here the what's called the writer and artist on that page, on page 87. Trying to be all fancy there. The street name, Kirby. See, we know our history.
Funny.
So, no, but it's a nice shot there. Yeah.
I mean, there's not much to say about this issue at all because it's just, it's kind of the antithesis to the second issue, where in the second issue, it was just nothing really happened except for at the end. there's like 2 or 3 things that are important, and the rest is just filler, But in the second issue, it was talking, and in this issue, it's attacking. It's the action. So the action is filling up these 2 or 3 important nuggets of information that we needed in order to get then to our finale, which is then the next issue. So I don't know how much we can really say here. I mean, it's just them fighting these guys and saving people, and then again, at the end, the important thing happens. Eric gets absorbed.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
That's it. I don't know what else to say about it.
It really isn't. As I said, I mean, I just brought in that one page because, it was what's called splash page, and it was kind of interesting. But yeah, in general, as you said, it's just laser blasts and what's called ginger punching and laser blasting. So yeah, let's move on to the last one. Issue 50. Having been consumed by the torment, Auric floats in nothingness, recalling his memories and experiences from his birth to the present, giving us snapshots of the major Valiant events. As he floats around in his own nostalgia, the rest of the world is ready to take on the torment as revenge for what happened to XO-Manowar. They all start attacking with everything they got, just as Auric begins to realize what the torment actually want. He manages to escape the innards of them and demands a ceasefire. Turns out they just wanted to die all this time, and XO-Manowar is the only entity in the universe that can accomplish that. Thus, they all die. Thanks to all the information Auric learned from the torment, he sends the Vine to an uninhabited planet where they can live in peace. And I've done summaries for the other stories as well about...
Yeah, but we can put that at the end there.
Yeah.
All right. What did you think about this resolution?
Again, the thing is, this is kind of stuff too, because it's not just the end of this like little arc, it's the end of this run. This is the only Valiant comic to have lasted more than, I think the other ones lasted up to like 15 issues or something.
Okay.
So like all the other ones kind of like ended at their 3rd volume or whatever. So like, XO-Manowar was their heavy hitter. He was like, he's the cornerstone for the Valiant, like the reboot. And, so it's definitely appropriate having this like little nostalgia flashback. So but it's kind of like nice, I like just seeing the whole fact that it reminds me of how cool this origin is, some Visigoth.
It's a clip show.
Oh, certainly.
I mean, that's all it is. It's a clip show. It's basically the final episode of The Critic.
Ah, yeah. Great way to end it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Also, I want to say 3 pages. The final confrontation between XO-Manowar and these aliens takes 3 pages.
Yep.
And I mean, and I'm including the one where he basically is being told, like, telling everyone to hold. I mean, the actual confrontation where he talks to them is 1 page, and on the second page, they're exploding.
Yep.
I don't know. I was a little bit let down. I mean, especially if you think about the beginning. I mean, it's like what, how many pages? It's like loads of pages of just backstory. I mean, it's stuff that we've already known. And I mean, yeah, it's nice for me at least to like, all right, yeah, let's see what happens. Maybe there's something interesting here. And then he just comes out, says stop, and then they just disappear. And that's it. They win because he just, I don't know. I guess I'm just a little bit more too into, or I've gotten too used to how the Marvel movies and like the general superhero movies end things. They end it always in a big fight. It's always a big struggle at the end. It's never just like, I have come up with a solution and the solution is this. And the enemy says, you're right, I'm going to leave now. That's how I feel like a lot of these comics are. It's just like, there's something happens in the last issue where someone figures something out, or it's like one punch, or it's one slice of a sword. It's like the final execution. And I I mean, again, maybe this is the reason why the medium of a comic is not really for me. It's just that I feel like I'm always let down at the end. So the story is always interesting on the way there, but then the final confrontation is just boring. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm never satisfied at the end, man.
No, but I understand what you mean. Now, again, if I'm going to put on my sort of pretentious glasses, hold on, there we go.
When do you ever take them off?
Oh,
Jesus.
I'm sorry. No, but I can see like the idea of not having a big final battle working, since that's kind of Aric's growth.
Yeah.
You know, when you consider like how he's been throughout this, his whole arc. It's gone from this
Aric. Huh. Okay.
Exactly.
Sorry, I had to say it.
So yeah, no, but you know, going from this barbarian with a weapon way too powerful for himself, you know, his arrogance. I mean, good lord, you know, he broke Gilot's arm just because of a disagreement. Because he wouldn't listen to reason. Now, you know, protector of the earth and all that. And that's kind of the whole thing. Like that's the whole thing. He comes out of there, and instead of then. I mean, sure, in the end, he does kill them. But it's not the whole big, you know, splash. It's like, no, I figured it out. You know, I actually looked into it. Sure, it was through sort of a magical space way, but, you know, I did figure it out. So, you know, that sense it works. But I don't know, the way with them just dying, like, I don't mind the concept of, like, I kind of like the idea almost of a super powerful species that just wants to die, but they're too powerful.
Like millennials.
No, but like kind of like it was like this. What's it called? I was gonna say South Park, a Samurai Jack episode from the first season, where he fights this cursed Viking warrior, who Aku cursed, I think, and made him like super powerful. But because of that, he's been immortal, and he just can't die and rest in Valhalla.
Go to Valhalla.
Exactly,
yeah.
But he has to die in battle, and that's why he wants like to fight the Jack, and Jack then does defeat him. So I was like, okay, that's a cool concept, you know. I mean, again,
isn't it like that short story or that short film from your school with that Viking that wanted to get to Valhalla? He's like an old Viking.
Yes.
And he keeps fighting all these things, and he just can't. Like he's always beating everyone, and he's never dying, and he just feels so shitty because he just wants to finally die. And he's like a really old Viking. It's such a cute short, and if you find it, put it into the show notes, because you need to watch it, because I don't want to spoil the ending, because it is so hilarious, and you see it coming, but in the correct way. Like you see it coming like a few seconds before it actually happens, and you're just like, no, and then it happens. You're like, oh my god, no! It's so good.
No, it's great. The Saga of Bjorn. So,
yes, the Saga of Bjorn.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's one of the better Bachelor films from the school.
Yes,
so we'll put
that
a link.
And the one with and the interview one, that was also really good.
That one is cool.
Yeah.
So
all right, well then, do you want to talk about the last two little short things that we have here?
Well, no, I just wanted to mention one other thing here too.
Oh yeah.
Because beyond, honestly, I'm not so upset with the Torment being defeated like this. But to me, because if you're going to have the whole Vine refugee thing being like, you know, a commentary on current events and all the like, it just feels like, oh, wait, right, we just got to put them somewhere else.
Yeah, so all we have to do is just send them out into space.
So yeah, no, but even like, even taking that, I guess, as the metaphor of it, or like, is like, okay, right, all these Syrian refugees and whatnot, we just have to have some unblemished part of the world. We can just send them over and things will be fine.
Yeah.
And again, it works within the story, of course, because we know from this universe that there are other planets and there are other species and all that. So it's like, that's fine. But it just feels way too simple of a solution. Though I do hope...
Yeah, exactly.
So I do hope we get to see like not like a near future of them, but I would like to see like then we get to see the planet again. But then like they have like kind of gone back to how they were, like not evil, but kind of like, look, now we have a civilization again.
Yeah, yeah.
And then from there, having some more fun stories come out of it. Like either, that they need Arik to come back or heck, something that could be cool, a Vine character. Like, not necessarily like a new hero, but just a different kind of character from there that can kind of join in with something else.
Yeah.
Because there's, so far we don't really have like a kind of, not quite the same, but, I kind of want like a Kilowog character, like from Green Lantern.
Oh, yeah?
Like, not that the Arik needs like a Vine sidekick, but I guess kind of like the idea of, we just have kind of like the priest and, civilians and then Commander Trill as a villain.
Mm-hmm.
Except now I guess he's more of the Vegeta or something.
Yeah. Well...
You know what? Things are fine with Commander Trill.
Don't besmirch Vegeta's name.
No, but I forgive you, Commander Trill, for all the stuff you've done.
Yeah.
No, but it's... But yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. It ends, and it's kind of like, yeah, neat.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I would describe it. Yeah, neat.
But yeah, and again, this was like a oversized issue, fitting for an issue 50.
Mm-hmm.
So, milestone. So we have a few more stories here. We have a short one here called The Two Deaths of Gaius Malleus. In a flashback segment, we see a Roman legionnaire gloating over his exploits against the Visigoths, thinking Arik a coward because he's presumed to have run away. Just then they're attacked by the Visigoths, but Malleus is saved by the new Time Walker, who pulls him into a time bubble of sorts. There, Arik gets a chance to kill the man who attacked his people, but in all the comics run, he has learned to move on from his old barbaric ways. Malleus tries to backstab Arik, but Time Walker sends him back to the point where he was about to be pierced by a spear. Anyways, thus keeping the time loop complete.
He wanted to get revenge on him because he killed his cousin.
Oh, was it specifically that? Well, either way.
I think it was the guy, or was it? Yeah, he said something about like that he killed the cousin of Alaric or something. Yeah, I slew this pup who I gather was some cousin of his, and cut out his heart to show it to the kings of the savages. Yeah.
Well, he mentions a nephew. Then, my beloved nephew is long dead.
Yeah, okay, so it was Arik's nephew then, right? Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. But either way, he did like attack his people.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a nice little short story. I mean, I'm guessing this has to do. This happens after the whole redemption in the last issue.
I'd hope so.
Because I mean, honestly, then this shows like, okay, he has actually changed. Because otherwise, I think if this was still barbarian version of Arik, he would have like totally killed him right there.
Exactly. But since this is also with the, I forget her name now, but I think he mentions it. No, he just calls her Time Walker. So, but yeah, she's now the Time Walker, at least concurrently with Ivar, I guess, because of the whole craziness of time travel. It's kind of cool, I kind of like this kind of scenario where you kind of, because the end result will be the same thanks to the fact that no time will have, been lost. He's going to die there anyway, so the fact that he's gone for a split second won't change that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nice little moment. So, and also, yes, the whole, we both like the historical aspects of the Valiant universe. The sense of, again, as we said, the Valiant has a lot of ties to history with their characters in some form or other. And it just helps make it feel more long-lasting in some way, rather than like, oh no, it's just suddenly everything exists. So, but it's nice. It's not really necessary or anything. It's just a good little accompaniment for the final issue.
Yeah.
Up next, we have His Greatest Failure. Ninjak infiltrates a Vine changeling stronghold and kills them all, then has a bonding moment with Arik.
Yeah.
I don't like saying awful.
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
It just, honestly, you know what this kind of reminds me of a little bit?
Don't say it.
Oh, I'm not sure what I'm referring to. I was going to say
Okay.
it reminds me a little bit of like the kind of comics I would do when I was a kid.
Oh, okay. I thought you were specifically going to go for my Batman comic, the first comic that I wrote.
Oh, no, I wasn't even thinking of that.
Okay. But now that you mention it,
No, but it's like,
yeah, it does feel like that. Yeah.
You know, it's just like action. Like it feels like the kind of thing you do because it's cool.
Yeah.
Like there's no real. I mean, we know they're Vine and all that. You know, it's not a new thing. We had a whole volume of them killing Vine. You know, so it's like fine, but it just doesn't feel necessary. And the art again, they're playing around with panel layouts a bit. Not like amazingly, but you know, like it's kind of interesting to look at. But the artwork itself isn't all that interesting.
No.
Like, I mean, one really big sort of, again, no offense to the artist here, but on page 152, that big splash panel of him having jumped through all these people and cut off heads and arms.
Yeah.
I don't know, like that should be like a really exciting and interesting panel. And it just doesn't, you know, I don't know, it just feels so tame and...
Yeah, it's boring.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, would it surprise me if the gridded background helps with that? Because it makes everything feels very, you know, static and safe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's it. That's the idea. It is they are supposed to be in an area that's safe, but...
Well, that's a good point. But the thing is, it just doesn't... I don't know.
Yeah. It was subpar. It was just like, you kind of skip through it, you know, just like, it's okay.
Exactly. Again, no offense to the artist or anything. It just... I don't feel he had anything to work with here.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I like the idea of, like, I like sort of Ninjak and the RX relationship in that sense. I mean, because you kind of get that a bit of like the Batman, the Superman kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Though, of course, not exactly the same. But it's kind of, it's fine. Though more interestingly, we have basically a preview for the next XO-Manowar series.
Which, again, I hope that there's more to this, that this literally is just a preview for the next issue, because to get a writer's credit on that, I mean...
Oh, you mean if this is you mean if this is just like unique things?
Yeah, because I mean, literally, Matt Kint is like the first like credited person as the writer, and there's literally 4 words.
Well, again, you know full well.
I mean, I know writing isn't only just the words here in comics, but still, I just think it's kind of funny that like I'm doing work. Silent panel, planets. Silent panel, dinosaur-looking things. Silent panel, loads of dead orcs. Like loads of dead orcs. Like take 15 hours to draw this. I'm writing in 5 seconds, but like we do a lot of work here. You know, and then keep on going. Like,
you know what? Temple. I don't know. You draw whatever you want in this one.
Closer on the temple. Even closer on the temple. There's a dude walking with a black cape. He kneels down in front of something. He says, "It is time." We see Eric looking totally badass. He has a scar on his chest. And just go with do whatever you want. Splash page, because I need to go. I need to go make breakfast.
No offense to you, Matt Kint.
No. I mean, I'm assuming that this is like the first 4 pages of the next issue or something like that. But still, could you imagine? I mean, I'm sorry. I think it's just hilarious.
Yeah, no, but it's like the stuff I always make fun of with like comic book writing.
1,000,000 horses run down the Serengeti. It's like, oh, come on.
So I'll be counting them.
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough pixels to actually fit in if you want anything, you know, looking like a horse.
It'll be 1,000,000 or you're fired. Yeah, but this is also interesting. It shows interesting. I mean, I feel like if we had a little bit more time, we could like completely dissect that last picture of Eric sitting there. He only has one hand. He has a lot of scars. He has a beard. He has short hair. He's kind of, shirtless. He looks hot. He has like a fur scarf thing. He has a ring floating above him. There's so much to like dissect here that we could spend another half hour just on this one picture.
So yeah, no, again, it's I haven't read any of this yet. I have the first issue in my closet signed.
Okay.
Because I took part of that Humble Bundle last year. So where you, if you pay like the highest amount, you did get to have like a signed copy of this issue.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why I haven't read it. I guess I kind of wanted a better moment to read it. But I don't know at all what's going on like with this, besides that he's on an alien planet.
God, that's like that nice bottle of wine that you save for a special occasion and then you never drink it because you realize that there are no special occasions in your life anymore.
Oh.
I'm not talking out of experience here, by the way.
Yeah, we're going to have to pop open a bottle of wine when I come over. I won't drink it, but, we'll just open it up and have it stay there.
Right. Well, it's fun. My girlfriend can't drink any alcohol anymore. I'm not going to drink a whole bottle of wine by myself anymore.
That's what I mean. We just uncork it and it just stays there.
Right. We're decanting it for the next 10 years.
Exactly.
But yeah, these were good.
But I got to ask then, now that this is, because the reason I'm not counting volume 13, like I'm not sure if we really, we could read it. But the thing is, volume 13 is just sort of a mismatch of other like XO-Manowar issues.
Okay.
Like it has the fall of XO-Manowar. It has the 4001 AD XO-Manowar. Like it has these little things like segments that were like specifically XO-Manowar. Mm-hmm. Along with one last thing, which I'm not sure if I've read or not, because I'm not sure if I bought it individually or not. But it does have this XO-Manowar annual book, which was like...
we could just, let the readers or the listeners decide. If they want us to do it, then let us know. You know where to contact us. Links are in the show notes.
Exactly.
And if you want us to go through that as like an issue 13 thing or a volume 13 thing, then we'll do it.
Yeah, I just brought it up because of the fact it's not really... This is the last actual volume proper.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, since, we kind of had that with the other issues or like the other series as well, though they ended a lot sooner. So around like volume 5 and 6 and all that. But XO-Manowar, this was the first story we read, with XO-Manowar volume 1.
Yeah.
And, we've now gone through, how long have we been doing this?
God, we've been doing it for about, we haven't been doing it regularly for a long time, but we're at episode 90. This is episode 90 right now.
Damn, yeah.
And I think we've been doing it for like at least 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
Like irregularly at the beginning, like we did like 5 or 6 episodes and we had we didn't do it for like months. And then we kind of did it weekly for like the longest time. And then now recently I haven't been as good anymore. But that will change. We could get back to our normal schedule. But yeah, it's been about 2.5 years that we've been doing this. It took us 2.5 years to read 12 volumes.
Exactly.
But yeah, I like XO-Manowar. He's one of those guys that I can just keep going back to and just I can... it's never horrible. There are some that are, of course, better than others. This one particularly I didn't like too much. That's why I am going to only give it like a 3 out of 5 because... I feel like the end wasn't strong enough. I felt like it was lacking something, and I will give it a yellow light in the sense of get it if you've been reading everything else because you're going to miss a lot, obviously. But if this is like your first one that you're going to pick up and be like, oh, what's XO-Manowar about? Then obviously don't get this. Maybe start it, volume 1, or listen to our podcasts.
I don't know. I think they'll find out more about Dragon Ball and DC movies. Yeah. So probably don't listen to our podcast if you want an actual...
That's very true. I think at some point we're just going to have to rebrand it as like, the Segway podcast or something. We start something, but then talk about other things.
Exactly. No, but again, I think XO-Manowar was a good choice as a starting point for Valiant.
Oh yeah.
Because again,
Definitely.
they had that whole thing, the Summer of Valiant in 2012,
Yeah.
where once a month they introduced a new series.
Yeah.
And again, they haven't published anything in years. Like most people don't even know what they are anymore, except old people from the 90s. And it's like, okay, like how do we reintroduce this? We have all these characters. Do we want to start with Ninjak? Do we want to start with Archer Armstrong, Harbinger, Bloodshot? Like they must have had so many discussions. Like I really wish I would have loved if they had done like a documentary or something, or at least just recorded like these meetings, or at least yes. I just want to hear the thought process because there's so many ways they could have gone.
Yeah, of course.
But I feel it was the best choice in that sense because he immediately does three things that Valiant does. And you get that basically just from the first volume. So, and then it's just these same themes run throughout the whole series.
Yeah.
You immediately get the historical aspect.
Oh yeah.
You just starts off. I mean, again, I didn't even really quite get it the first time I read it. I remember because front cover, okay, some guys fighting aliens. You get that one infographic about the Romans and Visigoths, but with that kind of like technological kind of design to it all. It's kind of like, okay, not sure why it's done like that, but okay, kind of interesting. Don't know why we're talking about Visigoths, but I don't know. But that immediately sets up the historical aspect of the Valiant universe that we later get more explored with what's called Gilad and Time Walker and all that. We also get into the whole sci-fi part of it, thanks to, Divine and the XO-Manowar suit.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, just the sort of present day, world of it all. And he basically bridges all of these themes from all of the Valiant universe into one. Like had they chosen any of the other characters to start with, it would have just been sort of pieces of things rather than like a sample plate of everything. I don't know, was that pretentious or?
No, not at all.
So, because again, if it was Harbinger, you only kind of get this idea of, okay, so they have kind of their own mutants. Bloodshot is kind of isolated in a sense, because at least assuming if they did the same, volumes that we read, it's kind of like, okay, kind of cool, but not sure why this is a superhero universe. Seems more like what's called a rejected movie script. And then, of course, Archer and Armstrong, they're fun, but they would definitely not start off the tone correctly for...
Oh, no.
Because then we're going to expect that all the books are, okay, they're all kind of some interesting, like, amusing satire or something. So again, he was the perfect guy to start it all off, and definitely one that worked to keep running longer than all the other characters. Again, not that the characters have disappeared, it's just, the series themselves. So yeah, it's...
Yeah, well, what do you rate it?
Well, this volume, I think I'll agree with your score. Because the 3 out of 5, because it's not like it's bad, it's just not really doing anything much. Like, it's just such a sudden thing that comes in, from the last issue, just like the last page there. Again, kind of cool concept with the Torment. Like, as I said, I love the fact that they were referenced all the way back in Volume 3. But in general, just another alien threat and way too easily defeated, like once it actually is figured out.
All right, yeah.
So, and the extra segments, fine, but not really.
Yeah, nothing special.
Yeah.
The teaser was nice, but it's just a teaser. You don't feel satisfied after that.
Yeah, it just answers, well, not, I was going to say answers questions, it asks questions. Because,
exactly.
Okay, because we just saw him escape, or not escape, like leave the new Loma, or Loama.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming he's coming back to Earth. So how did he get to this position?
Right.
And I'm sure it's going to start off like that. Like, it's not going to, it's going to be like, it's going to have its own usual 10 years earlier. So we know, like, how he got there.
Yeah.
So, but it's also interesting, and also props to Robert Venditti. So, for having, stayed on this for so long.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, he's the entire way through, yeah.
And again, I mean, Matt Kint also has a huge part of the Valiant universe, as we know. He's done so many of these characters, including like Unity and Ninjak and Divinity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now him taking over the reins. It'll be interesting to see what he brings to the table. Though I guess it's smart of him to kind of totally not revamp, but just kind of like, okay, let's just shake it up so we don't really have to compare too much.
Yeah.
Like, because instead of just having it, okay, now next week after this thing happened. Like, okay, it looks almost like a sort of like Planet Hulk kind of setting or something. So at least in terms of, human or like Earthbound hero on another planet. And
Yeah.
But again, I think he's done a great job. I mean, I'm actually kind of curious about some of his other runs, like as I mentioned with Green Lantern, and currently he's doing Hawkman. So I'm not usually that much in terms of like, oh yeah, you have really like this writer, so I buy all this stuff. But I feel once I get more of a steady income again, so I'd like to kind of do a little sample plate of these writers.
Yeah.
Like, I know we've discussed bonus episodes before, but that would be something fun too, just kind of seeing like, what have they done before?
Right. Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah.
Like I mentioned before as well, I mean, this is regarding Fred Van Lente for Archer and Armstrong. But we really should get a hold of that Marvel book, the Hercules book that he did. Because that's what he did that got him that got Valiant interested in him. Because it was basically Archer and Armstrong, but with Hercules and Amadeus Cho. Was it Amadeus? I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. Because it was the whole same idea, like the big, strong, womanizing drunk. And then this like smaller, skinnier, like more intelligent dude. Though I don't think he had the martial arts and all that, but yeah. But it was the same kind of setup, like this duo on crazy adventures.
All right, well, I guess that wraps it up. And I guess two last things. The next time you hear us, we will be in the same room recording the next episode. Ooh. But that also means the second thing, we are actually going to do Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe.
Yay!
So what we're going to do is we're going to do like a watch-along thing. So Humphrey and I are going to watch the episode, or we're going to watch the episode together and then kind of comment on it live. And then we're going to do like a countdown thing so that if you want to watch with us talking at the same time, you can watch the episode and then just hit play when we say play. And then, we'll talk about them when the episode is out. But we're probably going to do each episode as a single episode and then like just publish them as bonus episodes once a day for the however long it has to go. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else to say, Humphrey?
No, I mean, again, it's just kind of, even knowing that there's another series, I'm filled with pause.
All right.
Yeah, because this was a long run, a long ride.
All right, well, you can discuss this episode on Reddit. You can tweet us or you can follow us on Facebook. Also, all of our episodes are available on our hosting site, Podbean. Links are in the show notes. Catch us next time for
A&A, The Adventures of Archer and Armstrong, Volume 2, Romance and Road Trips.